Guys, I have an absolutely insane theory for the upcoming Zero event in Fortnite, and just in a nutshell, Zero Hour is not going to end well, and I believe this is actually a losing battle for us. Alright guys, I'm gonna be honest, this is the first time in years where it genuinely feels like we might not win, like not even come close to actually winning a battle in a Fortnite event. The Dark Presence is looking completely unstoppable right now, and the more teasers that Fortnite drops, the more doomed this entire island feels, and honestly, maybe even all of reality. I don't know if we've ever gone into a live event where every single clue is pointing toward failure, every audio log, every, cinematic frame, every storyline beat is basically just saying, yeah, we're pretty much cooked. Like, it even looks like Hope and Jones may actually die at the end of this teaser right here with the Dark Presence, like, looming over them. So today, I want to break down exactly why Fortnite might be heading into its first genuinely unwinnable battle during Zero Hour, and why that might be the reason we're heading to a brand new map in Chapter 7, along with what that could look like with the Traveler. There is so much pointing toward the island falling, the Presence winning, or something even worse stepping in afterward, maybe even the Traveler, so let's get into it. So if you guys don't know, recently Fortnite has been releasing a lot of really interesting audio logs, and the more that sounds like the characters themselves know that they're not winning this, and I think it's absolutely insane. If you guys don't know, Fortnite kind of secretly released another one of those cryptic looking TV teasers, and on them there wasn't really anything interesting. There was just kind of some numbers, but there was some muffled talking in the background, and at the end there was a specific number that when you typed it in your phone to actually call it, it would take you to an audio of Hope talking. There was one where Hope literally says that they're taking heavy fire, and she doesn't sound confident at all. It almost sounds like desperation, and I'll play it for you guys right here.
We're taking heavy fire. We're barely holding on. If you can hear this, make your way to the front lines. Who's piloting that?
So hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from. It doesn't really sound like, Hope is winning this. It doesn't sound like they're getting any closer to defeating the Dark Presence, especially in the end when she's like, who's piloting that? I believe that may actually be the Traveler and how we see him in some way. What happens after that, I have no idea, but I do have some predictions later on in the video. Everything they're saying feels like they're preparing for survival, not necessarily victory. This isn't hyped like hero dialogue. It's like last stand dialogue, like we're about to die. Something crazy is going to happen. We need something to save us. And I don't know if we've ever had teasers that sound this defeated before an event. It feels like Epic Games really wants us to know that losing is absolutely on the table. And honestly, based on the scale of the Dark Presence, yeah, losing is definitely an option. Now, there has been some talk recently about after the Zero Hour event, us not necessarily leaving Oninoshima and actually kind of staying in Reality 7A through 3 if we end up defeating him. But in my opinion, I think this island is completely doomed, and I think it's pretty clear that we already know we're going to be going to a new map. I don't think that part is really a mystery, but the reason why, that is what I find so interesting, and what I think is the most interesting pull out of all of these end events that we've ever seen. Now, if we are going to end up winning this event, then technically it would make sense to kind of stay on Oninoshima unless the whole island ends up completely barren or destroyed. As we can see in the images here, it looks like there's a bunch of cracks in the ground. It looks like he's kind of infested the map in general, and honestly, of course, as you guys know, with the Dark Presence lurking over it for an entire month now, as you guys know, he came into the map and then we went to the Simpsons season pretty much on accident, and he's been kind of looming there, just kind of taking it over, seeping out all of the energy. It wouldn't shock me if Oninoshima gets reduced to rubble or explodes or something like that, like we've seen before. But if we do end up losing to the Dark Presence, which I do think is the most likely scenario, then going to a new map obviously makes perfect sense. We'd basically be escaping, running, trying to survive in a different reality. But that causes another issue, meaning that the Dark Presence would continue being a threat throughout Chapter 7. He could be chasing us, hunting us down, moving between realities, trying to find us. And if we don't get the point shard back, that would mean that he's still under control of it. He's still dominating. He's still, infesting all of these different realities, trying to take all of the energy out of them, which is obviously a big problem. Now, this is where things get really interesting, you guys, and my biggest theory, because if we do lose, it might not be solely because of the Dark Presence. Now, if you guys look closely at the Traveler artwork that we've gotten, the only thing that we see of him, it really does look like he's just watching us from afar, which means he could have been observing everything this whole time. He could be sitting somewhere in a ship, maybe the Cube Cradle, some type of last reality mothership, watching us over this whole time. It almost feels like he's kind of waiting for something to happen. He's not necessarily helping us, us. He's not warning us. He's just sitting there and watching. And that is always really suspicious anytime we've seen a villain do that inside of Fortnite. Now, my thought was, what if he's waiting for the perfect moment? Like, he wants us to weaken the Dark Presence and then swoop in like, all right, I'm going to take it from here. I'm going to defeat the Dark Presence myself, and then I'm going to take the shard or whatever. You know, maybe he comes in during Zero Hour and pretends to save us. Maybe he poses as a member of the Seven because he looks very familiar, offering to take us to his reality or some type of paradise, which would be why we go to the West Coast sort of, you know, beach theme, only for us to realize way later in the chapter in that same season that he has way darker intentions. I think that would be really cool because as we can see from the teasers that we have, everything looks great. It looks, you know, movie. It looks all like lavish. It looks rich. Things like that looks fun. But then we have a really, really big threat going on that maybe is posing as somebody who's here to help us. But one thing I really hope for in Zero Hour is that Epic actually gives us a good, sensible reason for why we're going to a new reality or just a new map. Whether we win or we lose in this event, I want it to make sense, and this is something I've asked for throughout Fortnite. And if you guys have been watching my videos, you know what I'm talking about. I said this about the Simpsons season. I just want it to make sense. This map has been a huge part of the story this entire year. There's been so much build up. I want it to make sense. If it blows up, I want to see it blow up. If we're escaping, I want it to feel like we're actually escaping. I want to see them running away in a ship or something like that. I want to see the Traveler come down and be like, hey guys, come with me, or whatever happens with that. There needs to just be a clear cause and effect between the Presence, the Traveler, and us leaving, us defeating him, whatever. Chapter 7 really does deserve a strong start, and the event is the perfect place to set the tone. As you guys know, a bunch of Epic employees have been saying that the story is going to kick into overdrive in Chapter 7. So if that is the case, they need to not underwhelm us for this first event. Of course, I do not think that's going to happen. I think this event is going to be great, and I think we're all going to be floored, but just in case, I just have to put it out there just to say it. In general, you guys, I just don't see how the island stands any real chance of defeating him in the event. Unless they've got something absolutely massive up their sleeve, like a new reality weapon or a last-second twist, it just doesn't add up. As you guys know, every force in Chapter 6 is fighting together, and even that doesn't seem like enough to defeat the Dark Presence. He doesn't really seem like he's struggling very much in the trailer that we see. Of course, they're only just beginning to like yell at him and scream and go after him, but the only characters I can think of that might be capable of defeating him are either members of the Seven or something from the last reality, or like I said earlier, the Traveler. And if he defeats the Presence, then we're just kind of trading one threat for another, which is honestly just as scary as the Dark Presence defeating us, or, you know, him taking over our reality and us being his like minions or something. We've talked about this in previous videos, but I want to bring it up again just for the sake of it. We see in the key art how big he is. He literally towers over giants like Godzilla, obviously King Kong, as well as giant Homer. So I don't know if anything is going to really stand a chance. Are we even going to make a dent in this guy? And maybe somehow we do get the Zero Shard back and not actually defeat him. That is always a possibility, but I guess we will just have to wait and see. But guys, this event is shaping up to be one of Fortnite's darkest events ever. The stakes have really never been this high in Fortnite history. I don't think. Maybe the only comparable villain is like Galactus, but that really wasn't a Fortnite original, so I guess we won't count him. But whether we lose, we escape, or we get betrayed in some way, Chapter 7 is going to start off absolutely insane, and I can wholeheartedly say that. And the Traveler, I'm telling you guys, he's going to be a massive part of this story, and I can't wait to see what they end up doing with him. I'm going to keep making theories and breakdowns for everything that we learn, and trust me, next week and this weekend is going to be absolutely wild. But if you guys want to dive even deeper into this whole Traveler situation, go watch my breakdown on the Chapter 7 image. That video goes over every hidden detail. And guys, if you did enjoy today's video, please do drop a like. You watched all the way to the end. You must have enjoyed, so drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. I make videos like these every single day. Use code PROZEROYT, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.